We're going to pick up now with Hugh Hefner's biographer, Brigitte Berman, and with Naomi Wolf, author of The Beauty Myth, amongst other things. Very nice to have you both joining us here on Newsnight. Brigitte Berman, did you see him as a pornographer? I guess it's hard to dispute that, isn't it?
Oh, it is very easy to dispute that. There was nothing pornographic at all in Playboy or anywhere. He began by showing the girl next door, which was very important to him. He believed and he loved the beauty of women. But more than anything, he believed in, he believed in what was going on in the country. He believed in civil rights, and he did many, many things to further civil rights. There were many, many black people who right now are talking about, in fact, I was texted by Jim Brown last night, who thanked me for the film that I made and how I put the true Hugh Hefner on the map. And many people have said that. So I don't believe he's a pornographer. I think you have to go and look much, much deeper to find pornography than look at Hugh Hefner.
Let's take that to Naomi Wolf, a man who celebrated the beauty of women and was an advocate for civil rights, unlauded in that respect. How do you see him, Naomi?
I mean, this is kind of a surreal interview to listen to. It sounds like hagiography of a great leader. My first thought is, Ms. Berman, if it's an authorized biography that you wrote, and I don't know,
Actually,
the question is...
it's not a biography, it's a film, if I may say. And it was a film that was entirely funded independently. I made the film because I met Hugh Hefner through my earlier movie about Bix Beiderbecke. And Bix happens to be his favorite jazz musician. And that's how I met him. And he wanted to see the film, have a copy of it. And many years later, my husband and I...
Let me just let Naomi finish her point, if that's okay. Away from the biographer.
My point is, we've got very little time, but my point is, I think, more and more in this era of fake news and fake hagiography and fake biography and fake obituary, it's very important to ask who's sponsoring information. So to me, if an independent biographer, an independent filmmaker, says this guy is the best thing since sliced bread, that's one thing. So I'm not trying to get in a fight with you. I'm just making the point that if
Naomi,
any money
in terms of, if you step back from the man himself, was what he did pornographic, exploitative, or was he a liberator and emancipier of women who hadn't actually taken those roles up until that point?
He was he very much respected women. In fact, he hired and
is there
his
any
daughter
point in my
became
being
the
here?
president
I can't even speak.
of his company
Brigitte,
for over 20 years.
Okay, so he was very respected by the women who worked for him. I know it's difficult on the line. Naomi, do you want to address that thought?
No, because it's not the main point that's relevant, especially for people who are on his payroll or the Playboy Foundation or the Playboy, brand's payroll. What I want to say as an independent person is that, he both introduced or was part of this very consumerist, capitalist sexual revolution of the 60s, a very partial sexual revolution. And I think that it's weird to have all of this cultural kind of hagiography of him as a great liberator, a First Amendment, protector, when what he did was innovate, paying underpaid women really big sums of money that they couldn't say no to take. Can I just? All right. I don't.
Go on.
What is the
go
point
on.
of my
Go on.
here?
No, we're staying with you. Just finish your point, Naomi Wolf, if you can.
To take off their clothes, and if we were just to, and you could say that it was certainly liberating of part of a very reductive version of masculine libido to have this, steady stream of naked women, cheap at that time. However, I think that you should reverse the genders for a minute to see, is this a great liberator?
How should we?
I really, I'm going to leave because I need.
Brigitte, I'm going to come back to you in a second. My question to Naomi, though, is if you accept that there is going to be a porn industry of some kind, wouldn't you prefer it to be porn or nudity alongside Margaret Atwood or articles of Martin Luther King or something that actually frames it in a more benevolent way?
So I'd really like to finish what I came here to say, which is that if you reverse the genders and a 91-year-old woman had passed away who had made millions and millions of dollars putting young, underpaid 20-something men of different races into chipmunk outfits and encouraging them to show women their genitals so they could, so the women could masturbate to them. We might be saying that was innovative.
On another planet.
Okay,
Totally.
Bridget, do you want to respond to that?
Yeah,
okay, thank you. Bridget, why don't you
worth
finish
my
that
time.
point?
Sorry.
So if you
You know
reverse
what?
the
I'm sorry, I'm not
gender,
going to leave because that's.
if you
that's not
reverse the
fair to
gender,
people who
we
might
would
be
find it
watching,
totally
wanting to,
unacceptable.
actually have a
Bridget, do you want to come in on
conversation,
that?
Pardon me. I know I wasn't even aware that I was going to be arguing with another person. I have lost a person who is an amazing icon in America, and he has changed the face of the world in many, many ways. I agree. There are some people who talk about him, that he exploited women, etc., etc. At the same time, I don't believe it, and I have a right to my opinion. I fully hear that Naomi sees the other side, and there is no arguing that. She's on one side, I'm on the other.
On that note, we will end it, but thank you both very much indeed. Thanks for joining us.